Hi, my name is Ashang, and this is for Series B Fintech SaaS or Series A. Those have a subscription recovering transaction going on from a customer and having a multiple failed and a lot of churns happening. So this is a quick one under 7 minutes, no pitch. So most teams in Series B and A running Stripe, Chargebee, and Paddle and assume failed payment recovery is basically handled. So I'm gonna break this to you and I'm gonna show you what actually is being handled and what is not. So we believe like retries are on, dunning emails goes out and a dashboard shows a number, and I want to show you the one question that number doesn't answer and then a put dollar figure on that using a sample math so that it can swap on your own numbers into. If it turns out there's no real gap, I will say 2. So here's what standard setup look like. A payment fails and it lands into a dashboard and retries fights on a schedule. Some come back, you see one headline number, say 15,000 of MRR hit a failed charge this month, and the story tools tell you we recovered what we could and rest churned. Rest churned, and that feels complete. But the rest churn is doing a lot of hidden work in that sentence. And what is that? When you actually split that 15,000, it's not 2 buckets, it's 4 or maybe more than that, recovered, come back after retries, still at risk. Failed, but still inside the retry window, outcome not decided yet. Misqualified. The customer got logged as a voluntary churn when the real reason they left was a card that failed and nobody joined the back to the CRM. And unrecovered, generally written off. More dashboard collapse all of this into the recoveries was gone. The two middle buckets still at risk, misclassified are recoverable money that's currently invisible because your payment tool and the CRM aren't talking to each other and not syncing each other to know that what's actually getting churned because of the failed payment or what's churning because of the other reasons. The gap is the whole opportunities. So let me put number on that. They are sample numbers, right? Swipe into your letter, say MRR is 2500, 25 to 50k. Failed payment exposure runs about 600% of MRR. That's 15,000 per month at risk. If your current setup 25% of that only recovers, you are getting 3750 back, leaving on 1100 a gap if I minus it. Now I try to set up better retry timing, card operator, and a joining payment failure back to your churn data. Realistically land at a mid-range which is 54% and 8100 is back, and the difference between two is 4350. Is the incremental recoverable MRR analyzed? That's about 5200 and a year. Same customers, no new execution spent, and that's the revenue you already earned and just not collecting. Now, for the context of when recovery can go, a typically starting point sits around 25% mark. Realistic operation range with the right workflow is roughly around 45 to 60%. And the best case scenario, clean data, idle condition, 80 to 90% recovery rate. I want to be straight with you, 80-90% is a ceiling, not something I would ever promise, but the point isn't hitting the ceiling. The point is distance between where you are right now and where is practical step lands, because the distance is cash. Why it matters? Because Beyond dollar numbers, that incremental MRR, because you are recovering the churn before it's happening, is ARR at zero, and the CSC is not incremental here, cheaper than any channel you are running, and it lifts NRR because a chunk of what could counted as churn is actually recovery. It's runaway. Real cash, no dilution. It fixes churn accuracy. If payment failure are being logged as a voluntary churn, the churn number your board sees is wrong, and you can't fix a problem you are measuring in a wrong bucket. So, in the end, this is useful, and here's a low friction next step. Send me a read only export or screen share of your recovery data, and I will run the exit model against your real number, show you the first actual leak and instant fix live in about 15 minutes. There is no meaningful gap. I will tell you when you walk away with your real numbers. Either way, you know that everything is good, or either you can reply and grab your time, link below. Before that, I want to show you something which is a calculator that by increasing the numbers of your recovery rate, how it's actually goes to the up. Let's take, you are having a 25% right now, and we will take it to 64. Just by taking 64, failed payment hour is 15,000, currently 3500, annualized impact is 70,200, and incremental is 5850. So recovered 25%, still at risk, retry window 15%, and this 100% is 15,000. But currently invisible still and recovered is 4,500. Let me show you the benchmark. Where most teams start is 25%. Realistic operation days is 45 to 60% is very easy, and best case scenario is 80 to 90%. I'm not talking about this right now, talking about this. If you are having this much of recovery rate, that's a perfect point here. And so this is what you need to check. If anything you have a question, let me know.